This is a beginner's basket weaving video, not just because the target audience would be people who are just learning how to weave baskets, but because I'm a beginner. I only started weaving baskets a few months ago, but I fell in love with it. And this particular video is going to involve my explorations of how to dye baskets and how to seal baskets to prevent mold. The first commercial product that I used to dye and seal my little handmade baskets was a weaver's stain, and I used the oak finish. And the little basket that I'm holding in the video is an example of what a basket looks like with this finish. This was one of my earlier baskets. It's not perfect, but it shows the color nicely. This particular stain is nice because it contains the sealant, and so you don't have to add another sealant afterward. It's also nice because spraying the finish onto the basket is easier than some of the other methods that I've tried. This product can be purchased via basketweavers.com and other companies online. As far as I've been able to see, it's not available on Amazon. It's a bit expensive from my perspective, 25, 30 bucks. And sometimes with some companies, the shipping costs really double the price of the product. So it's a good idea to shop around a bit if you want to purchase this particular type of stain. I found that I could finish maybe 10 to a dozen of these small baskets with one can, so it can get used up pretty quickly. Here I'm showing several baskets with different stains just for comparison. In the back row, far left, is a basket that has the basket weaver stain, but this time it's in a maple finish, and I think this is my favorite of all. Next to it, on the right, is another oak finish basket using the basket weaver stain. The third from the left in the back row is a basket that has no stain, but it has a clear sealant. And then the remaining baskets, the little vase plus the 6 baskets in front, are unstained as yet. I really like the color of unstained baskets, and that's why I purchased clear sealants. But as you can see with the third basket from the left in the back row, it does not keep that kind of white color that I really think is so pretty. Instead, it comes out a bit tan. That vase-shaped basket in the back row was very special to me because I didn't know I could make a basket shape like that. It just sort of magically appeared in my hands while I was weaving. And unfortunately, I used what I think is a really ugly stain on it, as you'll see later. So I feel like I ruined it, but maybe I can make one again at a later point. The 6 little baskets in the front were designed to hold small pots where someone could plant succulents or any other kind of small plant. They're nice, but they're not particularly exciting, but I was happy to do them and have them turn out nice enough by my current standards. Here's a close-up of a small basket with the maple basket weaver stain. I actually do think this is the prettiest of the stains I've used. And then I'm also showing one of my first attempts to make a big basket, which is not perfect, but I think it's pretty. Now here are 2 baskets finished with the basket weaver stain in walnut. And here's my pretty little vase that I feel like I ruined it because I don't like this stain color at all. It looks flatter, or it's not as rich a color as the maple, but someone might like it. I might be able to give it away as a gift, perhaps. At any rate, these spray basket weaver stains are nice because it's easy to put them on the baskets. It's not too messy. Take it outside, spray it, wear a mask because I don't want to breathe this stuff. And it has the sealant combined with the stain, so it's a pretty quick way of staining your baskets. It takes about a week to dry. I don't usually handle them for about a week after using one of these spray stains. There's actually a tree outside my shed that has plenty of low branches, and so on a day when I plan to stain baskets, I've usually made about a dozen of them, and I spray them and then I hang them in the tree. So I really am starting to think of it as my basket tree. It's nice to go outside and have a tree full of little baskets hanging from the branches. It's convenient and it adds to my enjoyment of the whole process. Now I'm going to show you a couple of test baskets that didn't work out that well, but I wanted to be able to give people baskets as Christmas presents. For instance, for the secretaries where I work, I rolled up little Christmas socks and put them in baskets. And my original idea was to have some pretty green baskets instead of the more natural colored baskets. And so on Amazon, I purchased this tube of Express Color in emerald green, and I didn't like using it and I didn't like the result. I had to wipe it on with a paper towel because it was sort of a gel substance and not easy to cover the whole basket with it. And I don't really like the looks of it. Here's the second test basket, and something of a failure in my perspective. They're corn leaves, dried corn leaves, wrapped around a couple of rows of the reeds. I had corn growing in my backyard, a few rows of corn last summer, and I let the leaves dry on the stalks, and then I clipped them with scissors and put them in a box to store them. And I wanted to try either weaving them in a loom or weaving them as a basket. It was a bit difficult. I haven't figured that out yet. But in the meanwhile, I decided to try to decorate a basket with corn leaves. And it's messy and doesn't look quite right yet, but it's a test basket and it's showing the oak Express Color stain that you have to wipe. It's a gel and you have to wipe it on with a paper towel. And the color is not bad, but it's a little too yellowy for me. These are two little baskets that have been stained with the Minwax wood finish in golden oak. And they look nice, but it's not my favorite. However, this is a much less expensive way of staining baskets, but it's also very messy. I was applying the stain to the baskets with paper towels, wearing gloves, but I still got stain everywhere. And so it's not my favorite way to do things, and I don't like the color as much. It's a little flat, not as rich as the maple basket weaver stain, but it's not bad. Finally, I made this large basket, which turned out fairly nice, and I decided to use a different stain on it. I used the Minwax wood finish in espresso, and I really regretted it. The dark espresso stain really does not look good on my big basket. And I had made several small baskets that I were going to give as Christmas presents, and I don't know why, but I used the espresso stain on them too. So I ended up giving older baskets that I'd made earlier as Christmas presents, even though they were not my best products. Oh well. As I mentioned earlier, the basket weavers spray stains are wonderful because they contain a sealant. In any other type of staining that I've mentioned in this video, you need to use a sealant after the stain is dried. And I found a clear acrylic sealer. It comes both in matte and glossy on Amazon. The sealant prevents mold. None of my baskets have grown mold, but I have noticed that the towel I use for basket weaving has grown some mold and I actually had to throw one out. So that's it. Those are my experiences so far using commercially available stains and dyes for my basket weaving, and it documents what I've done so far, which is to my benefit, and also might help someone else who's interested in the topic.